is happening.
All right, Alex.
No, yes, you still believe one semester, so you
Oh.
did speak first.
Like,
I'm kind of concerned about, well, you said the price of the iPads was dropping. It will drop. But that's because newer technology will emerge.
Probably.
And in the 2 years from now, 1 year from now, that you have already investigated all this stuff and decided the iPad might be irrelevant. It very well might be, if you look at the pattern of Apple products. So I'm kind of thinking it might be a better idea to invest in something more practical rather than more glitzy. A small, like the Amazon Kindle, a small netbook reader, something like that, which is much cheaper, but offers some of the same features. But I'm kind of confused how we came to the decision so quickly that this money would be spent for an iPad trial and not a wider variety of devices trial, or something of that nature.
Well, it just bubbles up. I mean, first of all, a couple students emailed us and talked about the Kindle, and I passed that on to the committee and other folks and said, hey, take a look at this. So that's that. To be very frank about why the iPad, the administration is charged to run the institution. We make decisions every single day. Sometimes it affects hundreds of thousands of dollars every single day. We can't go to every single meeting, ask faculty and students what's their view on every single decision. We'd never get anything finished. I mean, I just have to be honest with you about that. So when we saw the early enthusiasm for that, and the support, and the use, it just came up, and the thought was, well, let's try this. So that's pretty much how it happened.
Right, but wouldn't using the funds to investigate different types of devices and comparing them to each other be more
Well,
effective?
it may, and it may happen yet. It may happen yet.
But this money has already been decided to go towards the iPad trial?
Well, the iPad technology, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just wondering where your thought process was, because to me that seems like a much better use of money to explore the market rather than just deciding on this one trendy thing.
Maybe, and others maybe would disagree with you.
Okay.
okay, Ashley. And then in the back.
I was actually just wondering, because I know that iPads have like the whole app thing and everything. And you were talking about adding it into the curriculum. But is there like something specific that like iPads can do? Because like, I mean, would it like help with like the whole, like would you be able to get textbooks on it, or would you like it help with paper writing or something like that? Because just like, I don't know, because I know that, well, personally, I know that has like Facebook on it, and it's really good, it's really fun for that. But I was just wondering, like,
Well,
as far as curriculum.
okay, the question, it's legitimate. You know, what are some of the applications? I'm not the expert on iPad. I'm learning like some faculty and students. How might that help in the classroom? Well, actually, if you're in a music class, you can actually play the piano on it. If you're in a geography class, the iPad is a homemade atlas. You can have an atlas at your disposal. If you're in an economics class and you're talking about the state of the economy, you can dial up the Wall Street Journal and get the exact cost of living, consumer price index during that class, during that discussion. Those are just a few of the things that I've discovered, and I know there are many, many, many more. And at the end of the day, those may not be exciting enough for us to adopt this wide. Like I said, we're just trying to explore and looking at different applications.
On the back, yeah.
I'm just wondering.
You want to come to? Thank you.
I'm just wondering why every single freshman needs to have an iPad, because it seems like if you really want to test it out in the classroom, that you should just designate it to only classes that are going to be all freshmen. Like you could just allot 75 or 100 iPads to those classes. And I also know that I talked to the professor who used the iPads over the summer, and that was in a business class, so they are going to be useful there. But I mean, in a history class or an art class, archaeology, in a seminar, it wouldn't be. Like, why does every single person coming in have to have one?
Well, that's a good question. And at the end of the day, as we continue to explore this, we may not necessarily put one in every single person's hand. They may have access. I think this is still a work in progress. So that's a fair question. And I don't know exactly operationally how that would work out. That's what we're going to study during this next year.
But I mean, is it really a work in progress if the money has already been decided? Like it is going to be given to every single
Well,
freshman?
you know, you folks seem to be really hung up on this $150,000. Why aren't you concerned about the $1 million we spent in the underground? Why aren't you concerned about the $3 million we spent on a turf field? Why aren't you concerned about the hundreds of thousands of dollars we spent? This $150,000 is a very small designated gift. So I guess I'm
That
missing
money
the
isn't
point.
spent yet.
Well, that's
And
true.
the designation is broader.
I mean,
Yeah.
also, it just, like, I don't know, it just seems unrealistic that administrators who are walking around campus wouldn't notice the state of the Apple lab. And I mean, if supposedly it really is students first, it seems like people should be checking up on the labs and the
Well,
rest of the college.
I grant you that. I grant you that, Catherine, and we're going to look at that. We're going to look at that. But I'm not here, I've repeated this about 4 times. I'm not here to necessarily defend the use of the iPad. The administration is responding to some good requests from faculty and students. This is an academic issue, this is a curriculum issue, and that's where it will be decided. We don't want to stand in the way of anything, and I'm sure many of these questions were asked a number of years ago. Why did we even put in a computer lab? Why did we spend money there? Why are we spending money upgrading the Hudson Science Center computers when maybe other parts of the campus need it? There are a lot of people looking at that. So I'm not really defending this. I'm just trying to create an environment of exploration, that's all.
I just want to ask one more thing.
Sure.
I just forgot what it was. Hold on. It was a good one. I don't know. I don't want to waste time. All right. Sorry.
I just want to give a quick suggestion.
I just wanted to quick say something. President Boldy, thank you very much for having this conversation with us, and I really appreciate what you've done for the college. And I also wanted to say I did like the idea that you brought up with the renting out of the iPad for the library and with the laptops and things like that. I think that would be a really nice compromise. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate your comments, and I do listen, by the way. And many of the very good ideas we've implemented over the years were ideas that come from students. And we don't pretend to have all the answers, but we just like to create a very open environment and experiment on a lot of different things.
Okay. It's 10:15, that closed discussion is closed. So we'll continue on for our meeting. First of all, thank you, Brenda.
Okay, you're
Sorry.